Question number 3, Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Which of these facts, if any, is he most proud of as he looks forward to Christmas? Understaffed police, as confirmed by his police minister, the lowest home ownership since 1951, pupils getting the worst PISA test scores ever, or the most debt ever amassed by a New Zealand government?
And before I call the Prime Minister, my office has been advised the answer may be a little longer than normal. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, in the first case, they're not facts. But secondly, the members should cheer up. The country is pleased that it's been able to get a new Prime Minister with a stable government, that wants to pay off debt, lift education standards, support the police, reduce crime, and build on its major achievements from this last year.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplement. Order. Order.
You ain't seen nothing yet, Bill.
Order.
More to come.
Order. Order. School will be out shortly. In the meantime, we need to complete question time. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. How much of a Merry Christmas will young Aucklanders have after being shut out of the Kiwi dream of home ownership, because now the average home costs more than $1 million?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, I'm sure there are some who will go into Christmas disappointed that they haven't been able to buy the house they wanted for $1 million. But actually, a significant number of young New Zealanders have bought houses in Auckland because they've had the lowest interest rates in 50 years, because they've had good jobs with rising incomes, and they have been able to get into the housing market. And those who haven't can see that the government's building program that's getting underway and the policy changes that have led to the enabling of a lot more houses in Auckland will give them the opportunity in the future.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Is it a Merry Christmas for the 90,000 children in severe poverty under his government?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, I can tell the member that it's a much better Christmas this year for the 100,000 of New Zealand's lowest income earning households who on the 1st of April got a $25 a week increase, the first such increase in 40 years, and an increase that the Labor government did not put in place even though it had large surpluses.
Supplementary.
Order. Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
With so many Kiwis missing out after 8 years of National, isn't it true the best present he could give them is Labor's plan for affordable houses, more cops on the beat, properly funded schools and hospitals, and a fair share for all?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, I don't think anyone would want to inflict on a New Zealand household, particularly one that was working hard to get ahead, the dreary picture that Labor paints of their prospects in this wonderful country. We certainly would not want to present them with anything from the Labor Party.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Will Judith Collins finally get more police in her stocking this year, or is it a merrier Christmas for the burglars who now have a 95% chance of just getting away with it?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, I'm sure that the Minister of Police will be getting a lovely Christmas card from the Commissioner of Police, and also that any burglars who think they're going to be active over Christmas need to understand that the Commissioner has said that burglary is a priority and the police will be attending burglary call-outs.
Supplementary. It's not what you said last week, Judith.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Will Jonathan Coleman finally get the properly funded health system he asked for in his letter to Centre last week, or is he on the naughty list for challenging the leadership?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, as his deputy leader will know, every budget's like Christmas time for a health minister because they always get the lion's share of new spending from government. But this health minister has actually made much more impact with the money that he's had through new programs like the bowel screening program, which will screen, I think, hundreds of thousands of New Zealanders and prevent hundreds of deaths.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Given he now has 4 ambitious amigos, 3 resigning ministers, 2 brooding rivals, who's going to rescue Nick Smith from the pear tree?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, the basic difference is this. We have 59 members of Parliament. And that is a great deal more than that member has. And it doesn't matter what presents he gets for Christmas, that's basically not going to change.
Supplementary question.
Order. Order. Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Minister, exactly what sort of Christmas will it be for a bunch of egregious self-serving careerists who have been given the don't come.
Order. Order.
Can't take it, eh? Can't take it.
Order. I can understand the reason for the interjection, but we now require no interjection, so the question can be heard, and then I can decide whether it's been addressed satisfactorily. Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Point of order, the Right Honourable
I hardly
Winston
got
Peters.
going and they recognised themselves.
I'm not sure why they were making that noise, but I don't think that was the reason. The member can proceed with his question if he wants.
Supplementary question, Speaker. How will a bunch of egregious self-serving ambitious careerists who have been given the don't come to caucus Tuesday message and certain tiresomely useless cabinet ministers get on this Christmas when they know they've been given the boot?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, given it's a season of goodwill and the member has seen many Christmases, I must say he is a very well-dressed, egregious, self-serving careerist.